Alright, greetings folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. This stream is brought to you by Marshall C, who donated to see Tribal Soldiers. Now, historically, Soldiers in Legacy has primarily been a stompy deck built around like Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, and then Suppression Field. This is just like actual factual Soldier Tribal with vials and ports instead. So it is a very, very, very different deck. I believe I have kept the main deck pretty much intact from what he sent me, although I changed the sideboard up a bit. So there is a lot of cards here that you are potentially not familiar with. I'm going to focus on one, and that's Catapult Master. Marshall ran this through a league and said that Catapult Master is way better than it looks. His build had 3 of them. I am a little unsure about having so many 5-drops in my deck, so I shaved it down to 2 and put the 4th Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, in the deck. That was the only change that I made to the main deck, but not this one. Catapult Squad. The Catapult Squad lets you tap 2 soldiers to deal 2 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. And Catapult Master lets you tap 5 soldiers to exile target creature. So this deck is looking to create a large number of soldiers and then like vomit them out via Preeminent Captain's trigger, which happens on attack, or through Bally, Rush, Banneret, and Ether Vial, making things cheaper. Yeah, I don't know about this deck list. So like the soldier build that I'm more used to playing plays to the strength of mana acceleration. And like you get Chrome Box and the soul lands to power things out faster. And like my overall opinion was that Preeminent Captain wasn't good in that build, and Bally Rush Banneret wasn't good in that build either. And that like Enlistment Officer wasn't actually all that great either. But we'll kind of see how things go. As far as the sideboard goes, I'm playing some things that would be better in a Soul Land deck, specifically Thorn of Amethyst. Like, it's a turn 2 play here, no matter what. The initial sideboard, if I'm being honest, just had a bunch of like do-nothing 4 and 5 mana creatures. So I replaced them with some cards that I thought would be more relevant. I do think I need more creatures in the sideboard to like adjust when some of these creatures aren't going to be good. So Selfless Squire was one of the ones that I picked. Flash, ETB, Fog, and however much damage you fog, you get that many +1/+1 counters on this thing. So one of the easiest ways that I imagined that I could die was just like to my opponent Delvering me, and like they just play a threat and I never get to block it and I die. So I added Selfless Squire as a way to fog a bunch of damage and create a huge threat that maybe like swings the game on its own. And then I also decided to put Worship in the deck as another way to like fight back against Delver style decks where my opponent is looking to get very aggressive and make my opponent answer all of my various creatures. I don't know if Worship's actually good because like my opponent's playing Delver, they have a bunch of counter spells anyway, but like it's an idea. No Null Rod. I am an Ether Vial deck. I do not get that luxury. So the initial deck list that I got had 2 Chalice of the Voids, a 3rd Grafdigger's Cage, and I've replaced those with this, and then there were 5 other random creatures that I replaced with these. With that being said, let's just kind of jump into it. I'm off to a little bit slower start today than I would like. Nope, just a Legacy League, not a Legacy Challenge. Thank you. Let's see if this deck has legs. So, Marshall played this deck to a 3-2 finish in his initial run with it. We'll see if we can do that well. I'm very down on pretty much every Vial deck that isn't goblins right now. I just don't think Vial is a very good legacy card anymore. We'll see if I change my mind today. But Aether Vial has been like very, very unimpressive for me. More generally, decks of this nature haven't been great for me. Like the various like D&T, White Eldrazi, anything on that spectrum has like not been great. What do you think it would take to make other Vial decks good again? Bannings? More powerful printings? One land hand with some 5 and 6 drops that we lose the game on the spot to if the Aether Vial's countered? Yes. I mean, like, if you're playing a Vial deck, you have to keep hands like this. It's the law. But, like, if this Vial gets dazed or forced, I don't think I have any possibility of winning this game. Is it the same one that you posted about in the Discord server? List seems solid. Like, there's some risk involved. But as a whole, I liked it. This makes the hand much more stable. It also like gives me the mana to crack my clue or gives me mana to cast a Precinct Captain if I need to next turn. Yep. So this is probably going to be the sort of game where like an Oko hits play and I lose to it. Yeah, Enlistment Officer is an interesting card. I've played with it a decent amount. It's not as good as Goblin Ringleader. It's an awkward draw. I kind of wanted to play Thraben Inspector and crack the clue. Hmm, that's unfortunate. Catapult Master is sick. So, like, one of the problems with Enlistment Officer in the Ancient Tomb versions of this deck is that a lot of times, yeah, this is exactly how I die. A lot of times you just, like, kill yourself with Ancient Tomb, so you can't actually cast the cards that you get via Enlistment Officer. Hmm. That's interesting to me. Maybe that means they have swords to plowshares or something. Missing my land drop here while also like effectively having my vial destroyed is a pretty terrible combination. This is the first match of the stream. Play Ballyrush Banneret into Thalia. I don't actually think the Oko is dying this turn. Like now a question of like, do I do this pre or post combat? I think I do it pre-combat. I'd be willing to trade Astrolabe for Vial. I'd be willing to trade Thraben Inspector for a Death Toucher. I guess if they play a Death Toucher, they Death Touch my Vial and just block Thraben Inspector with an Astrolabe, and Oko only takes one. Am I better off just trying to Alpha in next turn, having more bodies? Maybe. Possible I'm just supposed to attack with the Vial here. It's pretty bad if they have an Ice Fang Quaddle and I attack with everything. Like Oko takes one, I lose two bodies, they still have the 3/3. I think I'm just going to attack with the Ether Vial. This way I don't lose any soldiers, and if I draw a land, I can Catapult Master plus exile a creature that they have. And the Oko doesn't super matter anymore. Now they just have more protection. Okay, I mean, that's obviously not good for me. I'm going to lose this game to just this card, in all likelihood. This is especially true if they answer my Ballyrush Banneret this turn. I might be getting Dead of Wintered here. I'm not going to block, though. Cool. Sure, it didn't get to kill my Catapult Master. I have that going for me. Bad news is that my opponent as the best planeswalker ever printed. And can invalidate everything that I'm doing with just that card. Like, I don't have enough mana to do the things that I need to do. Like, I don't have enough mana to crack these clues. I don't have enough mana to play these 5 and 6 mana cards. Don't have enough mana to play Militia Bugler into another threat. Not feeling good as of right now. Obviously, Lieutenant would be a great fit for this deck, but we're playing some bad cards instead. Alright, so this is an elk, which is super unfortunate because that also means it's not a soldier. I guess I'm probably playing Catapult Master this turn, post-combat. I play Catapult Master, hope to spike a land so that I can play Captain of the Watch, start exiling all my opponent's creatures, and maybe something works out. Otherwise, it's like crack a clue and play another preeminent captain. That line's not bad either. Makes it more likely I can play Captain of the Watch as a Lord next turn. Maybe that's better. This is just like a 5 mana 3/3 that is going to get elked. I'd like to use this immediately. Sure. I really need a land this turn now. Yeah, this deck doesn't feel good without soul lands. That is my game 1, match 1 perspective. Like, I have so many things I could do, but I just, like, do not have the mana to do. This is turn 9 right now, and I, like, still can't get some stuff into play that I've had for most of the game. I am skeptical. Yeah, I mean, Goblins is obviously a better deck than this one. Oh, great. All right, whiffed on the land, which is honestly pretty devastating. Like, this would have been a great chance to put Captain of the Watch in play and make a very profitable attack. And now I have to decide whether or not, like, a Militia Bugler trying to find Ballyrush Banneret to make the Captain of the Watch play next turn. Like, it's probably not as... Ugh, this is so frustrating. Like, I really need to attack everything in to kill Teferi. But if I do that, I lose 2 of my 3 creatures. My opponent keeps a food around. My opponent makes a second food. And we're just on a slippery slope to, like, ultimate destruction. I also can't really just play Catapult Master into my opponent making Elks. So I think I do this and see what I find, and then use that to influence the rest of my turn. Just probably need more creatures on board for when I eventually get a Lord. Let's do this. It'll let me know whether or not my opponent has Swords to Plowshares. Now I probably need to just kill the Teferi this turn so they don't have 2 active Planeswalkers. Yep, so that's exactly the set of blocks I would have expected. I do wonder if my opponent played their last turn correctly. Like, they could have just bounced one of my creatures and it would have kept their Teferi alive for longer. Oh, great. There's just another thing I'm not going to beat because I can't deploy my cards. Yeah, but I'm, like, realistically not going to get 5 soldiers into play before that thing plus Oko ruins the rest of the game. Like, I would basically have to involve me drawing a land for Captain of the Watch this turn. Like, I'm already on the defensive. Can get rid of an elk at the cost of a soldier. Probably no good. Take that damage. Okay. This makes it so that I can start Catapult Mastering next turn. So that's cool. I can deal 5 to Oko this turn. No, I can't kill Oko here. My opponent blocks Thalia. Oko takes 5. So that means I probably don't attack and feed something to Uro, which is awkward because my opponent could swap a food for, like, one of my very relevant creatures. Uh, I think I'm not going to make any attacks this turn. And we'll just, like, see what my opponent does. Probably just elking my Captain of the Watch. Oh, wow. Okay. Lose to Force of Will. Thank you. Yep. Now it's more interesting of like, do I attack everything at Oko and try to kill Oko this turn? I lose a lot for doing it. I lose Captain of the Watch to Uro, and then I lose 2 other creatures. But Oko dies unless they have like a Swords to Plowshares. Assuming I lose 3 creatures, I still have 4 creatures. The 5th is Catapult Master. Possible that I'm supposed to just be patient here and wait this out a turn. I do not know. But like them having more foods and more Oko activations is pretty disastrous for me. I think I'm gonna YOLO this. Alright, that's a disaster. That was my opponent's 3rd Swords to Plowshares. I lose. I don't think I'm supposed to play around 3rd Swords to Plowshares with no manipulation in a few turns. That just super sucks. I'm just gonna pack that one in there. We're not beating that now. So I want Pithing Needle or Oko, for sure. And then there are other things that I can take from there. I don't know if my opponent has Snapcaster Mages, but it seems likely. This also stops Uro shenanigans. Mage is probably okay. And it's like Swords of Plowshares, so it's more interesting, like whether or not that's good enough. I don't really know what I'm supposed to board out. I don't think I can board out my top end stuff. I don't think I can board out any lords. Preeminent Captain seems choice. Precinct Captain is probably pretty bad versus Elks. And Thraben Inspector seems very, very low impact in this matchup and is also pretty bad versus Elks. So let's do that. It brings us down to 31 creatures, which is still a crap ton. And seems kind of bad, but we don't get to throw it back. It has a turn 1 hate card that gets elked, followed by like something that makes my preeminent captain cheaper so I can actually cast it. So now I'm just looking to draw a big dumb soldier, really, that I can dump in with preeminent captain. That's also interesting. So I guess I want to be casting things pre-combat in case this gets removed in combat. I think I just ignore the vial in the short term and just dump my creatures on the board and say, like, if you have verdict, you have verdict, but I don't get to play around that. Now I will still have a soldier post-combat unless my opponent, like, double swords to plowshares or something, so I think I'm just going to attack in. Oh, you're right, I could have one mana captain and Ether Vialed. Oops. Yeah, I was thinking about how I probably didn't want to play Catapult this squad this turn because, like, I want to, like, have something if I miss on a draw that I can put in with this. Okay, at least we don't lose immediately to that. But that, like, definitely will beat us if this Crafter's Cage gets removed. Guess I'm just going to try to attack. And now, like, there's the question of, like, do I play this Catapult squad into Supreme Verdict? I don't think I do. I can just put it in via Preeminent Captain next turn anyway. Alright, at least I'm not getting Supreme Verdicted this turn now. I need something like an Enlistment Officer to give me some card advantage. Oh, JK. They found the land for it. That's really frustrating. And now I lose? Feels like now I lose. At least the Uro doesn't get to come back until my opponent gets Oko to turn my Grafdigger's Cage into something else a little more elky. I mean, that's plenty frustrating as well. My opponent just, like, Fate Sales me forever, and I lose. Okay, I'm getting a live draw this turn at least. Hey Bailey, hope your summer's going well. That's really an awkward draw. Like incredibly awkward because I'm incentivized to put that in sooner rather than later to make my opponent's spells cost more, but then I can plan around it. Awkward. Yeah, I just used Zoom myself like an hour ago. We're doing a lot of meetings for, yep, there we go. We're doing a lot of meetings for my online Latin Academy through Zoom. Yeah, but all in all, like, super frustrated with my lack of decisions and agency here. At what point do I just start attacking them instead? Like, taking this Jace off the battlefield probably means that I win. And I don't think it's realistic for me to kill them via damage as of right now. So I think I'm just going to continue to swing at Jace. Alright. This is pretty much the point in the game at which I have lost. But I have so many bomby cards like Enlistment Officer that I can't concede yet. I mean, we lost this match because our opponent got to Supreme Verdict and get a 3-for-1 when I had an aggro hand. That's what we lost to. Yes. 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 Okay, so now my opponent gets to Teferi, bounce my Grafter's Cage, put an Uro into play, and I think I'm just dead to that. I'm going to concede here. What a boring round of Magic. Just lost game 1 to Oko. Had no ability to fight back against it. Lost game 2 to Supreme Verdict into Jace. Had no ability to fight back against it. Yeah, Strifo, it's almost impossible to have a good Oko matchup when you're playing a fair deck like this one. The card just single-handedly beats strategies like this and Red Prison and Death and Taxes just an overwhelming proportion of the time. Well, the dream is to either get some early aggressive starts or bury our opponent in card advantage. So, like, we can theoretically get a lot of card advantage in combat control via things like Catapult Squad and Catapult Master. We can get a lot of card advantage via things like Enlistment Officer, Militia Bugler, Thraben Inspector. We also have a decent number of lords, so at least some proportion of the time we get to make things bigger, right? So like we have Daru War Chief, Captain of the Watch, and Field Marshals to make them bigger. Oop. Well, it doesn't matter, I guess. Can't change the deck while I'm in a league. I mean, I played the list that was submitted. I mean, I don't think it's correct to try and play Vial Soldiers. Like, cards like Preeminent Captain lose out so much power if you don't play them on turn 1 or 2. Like, play them ahead of curve to let you cheat on mana. But, like, we'll see how it goes. I also just think, like, Rashad and Wasteland look terrible in this deck. Like, after playing one round. I have so much to do with my mana, I can't ever see wanting to use Wasteland. Unless I already have, like, Vial or Preeminent Captain in play. And, like, I have so much to do with my mana that it's really hard for me to sacrifice 2 mana each turn to port my opponent. I don't know. Like, sample size is 1 right now. We'll see how it feels after a couple more rounds. Donor played 1 league with it and got a 3-2, so, like, there's at least something there. Also, what is up with the queue times? This is not great. There we go. I'm obligated under international law to keep this hand. But please don't force. Okay, cool. Now, please don't also kill me on turn 1. Alright, I feel like our opponent is quite favored. Especially since I missed that land drop. Yeah, if my opponent can do their thing, they're going to come out way ahead. I'm just F6ing. So Enchantress does stumble over itself a decent amount of the time, so it's possible they won't just do their thing here. But they have an Enchantress's presence and a lot of mana. Okay, so we tap this, say yes, put in Ballyrush Banneret, uses that to cast this. Alright. We are also, like, maybe going to do our thing. I could use more white mana, but I can probably get a lot of stuff into play over the next few turns. It just really depends on how quickly my opponent can set up something defensive. Like, opponent is probably taking 4. followed by something on the order of 9 damage, followed by dead. So they're going to need something like a solitary confinement or elephant grass in order to deal with me. But an elephant grass is like very stupid good against me. Because like I just have one land. Uh, that's obviously very good. At least I'm not getting elephant grassed, but like that's probably worse than elephant grass. To play a 2 or 3 mana card is just going to be this. Now we'll probably just go buy 3 lands. Yeah, just like I wrote it up. So now my opponent has double Enchantress's Presence to go and look for an elephant grass, and I pretty much lose to that card. I'm also just not that far away from just dying to a Destiny Spinner. Do I concede here to save time? I think I do. I think I just call it here. Like, these sorts of things don't get to interact with the Enchantress. I'm now attacking for 2 damage a turn. My opponent has, like, +3 draws at minimum each turn. We're good. I could wait to see if they have, like, a Rip Helm kill or something, but I'm good. Is this a Worship matchup? I think, like, Worship might be, like, surprisingly annoying. They can Doom Wake all of my creatures away. That's how they beat Worship. They can also Oblivion Ring or Oblivion Ring one of the clone effects, whatever the other one's called, and get rid of the Worship. I don't know, maybe because of Doomwake Giant this isn't Worship. Like, Doomwake Giant just beats Worship on its own. It's not a Worship matchup. I think I talked myself out of that. Catapult Master is an out to a Doomwake Giant that gets on board. The Catapult Squad and Catapult Master are not particularly great here. If Doomwake Giant hits the board, you're very unlikely to have the bodies for Catapult. Yeah, that's true. Alright, let's junk that. Unless maybe junk 2 of these and call that good. Not being able to play these Thorns on turn 1 via Soul Lands is brutal. Cannot keep this hand. God, what is... Alright. Blue versus late game card advantage. I think late game card advantage matters, assuming I tick up this Vial linearly. Really need to spike a land for the Thalia. Oh, great. Also, in my opinion, small misstep from our opponent. They could have waited to do that on our turn with no penalty. And they could have potentially pitched a different card other than Abundant Growth. Abundant Growth is decent because it cycles itself. This is weird. I think I need to keep my lands. Like, it sucks because the Serra Sanctum gets to make more mana this turn. Opponent maybe played that poorly by not tapping the Serra Sanctum for mana and giving themselves the opportunity to get good redraws. Now it's more interesting as to whether or not I wasteland the Serra Sanctum. It represents a ton of mana now, and I missed out on my land for Field Marshal to get like a truly aggressive start. Putting Catapult Squad into play is not super significant here. I think we begrudgingly wasteland them. That's very frustrating. Very frustrated with the state of Legacy overall because like almost every round that I play, the decisions that I make aren't mattering anymore. So now my opponent has a billion mana. I'm stuck on mana. We're effectively dead there. Yeah, this deck does not feel viable. I don't mind playing against Enchantress. Like, blanket statement. But like I played 2 rounds so far and my decisions largely didn't matter. That's what I care about. Well, Strifo, I play a different deck like literally every stream, right? So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So I played 20 different decks in the last month, give or take a little bit. And that's largely been my feeling for pretty much everything that I've played. Yeah, pretty much. Like overwhelmingly, my opponent sticks an Oko or an Arcanist, and I just die to it. So like last week's daily D&T set, I played with a white Eldrazi style list that opted for mana acceleration instead of vials, and I played the entire league in an hour, and I made like basically no decisions that mattered in the entire league, and I'm not exaggerating. And like this week for daily D&T, I played like a traditional death and taxes list, and I don't want to spoil it, but I will say I only won matches in which my opponents did incredibly questionable things that lost them the game, basically on the spot. Um, like I've definitely been frustrated by like the haymaker aspect of current Magic, especially if they miss this land drop. I'm going to wasteland that Tundra rather than play Preeminent Captain. If they make the land drop, it's a little weirder. Not anymore. I think I take that land and play a Vial. Yeah, I am. I am excited about like maybe getting to play some goblins on stream at some point. Like I'm sure someone will donate for that. But like I'm so worried that like when I get to playing with all these sweet brews that people submitted for my contest, that we're just gonna have like matches like I've been seeing recently where like I'm playing these sweet cards and my opponent plays Oko and the entire deck folds to it. That'll that'll just be like one of the worst feel bad experiences ever. Hello and welcome. Opponent apparently just has Ice Fang Coatls and Brainstorms in their deck. That's probably not a good attack. I get to put something into play attacking, and it's not necessarily going to have first strike. So I do not like that attack. Uh, how do I want to do this? probably want to play Enlistment Officer pre-combat to get myself the greatest number of options. Sorry. And then put in attacking Daru Warchief. Well, I guess it's more damage, just raw damage, if I cast Daru Warchief and put in Enlistment Officer. It's just a little bit less flexible. I have no reason to hold up a Catapult Squad activation when my opponent has one attacking, or one open mana. I think I'm going to go for the high upside play of Enlistment Officer here, because if it finds like a big dumb thing like Captain of the Watch and allows me to put it in, it's just pretty gross. And if it doesn't, I just put in Daru Warchief and I'm fine with that. Enlistment Officer, we'll get another Enlistment Officer, that's fine. Oh, it's all of them, that's right. Frame Verdict, white, white, or blue, blue? White, white? White, white. So I don't need to worry about getting Supreme Verdicted next turn. I think I'm just going to put in the War Chief and take the damage this turn. And put in or cast the Enlistment Officer next turn. You're all fired. Everyone in chat is fired. Like, I won that one, but it was still a relatively uninteresting game of Magic, right? Like, I had two decisions that game. Do I wasteland my opponent's Tundra? And which creature do I put in with Enlistment Officer? Not particularly compelling Magic to me. I don't think I'm just like romancing about a particular Legacy format that I enjoyed either. Because like, all in all, prior to Renin 6, I was like 100% on board with Legacy, like literally at all times. And even through most of the Renin 6 era, I was still pretty positive. But after that, I just haven't felt like Legacy. Well, I loved the Companion era. That was broken for different reasons, though. So, am I going to preemptively board in Grafdigger's Cage? I think I am. So, what did I end up cutting before? I don't remember. Let's do this live again. So, some of the stuff that was bad against, like, Elks on their own, I cut. So, I think I cut Precinct Captain. I think I trimmed one of those. I think I trimmed some Thraben Inspectors as well. Something like that is probably okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to keep both Catapult Masters. Renin 6 was very annoying. In particular, if you were playing small creature decks. Otherwise, it's just very good. Versus, like, backbreaking insane. Wait, hold on. Do you mean Field of the Dead? No, you mean Suppression Field again. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I was intrigued there for a second. So this is a really interesting turn. This is probably the first interesting turn of the league. So it's the question of like, what am I playing? Because whatever spell I play feeds into a Swords to Plowshares potentially. If I don't play a Thalia, I risk my opponent Okoing next turn if they don't have Swords to Plowshares. But playing Valley Rush Banneret potentially allows me to do some degenerate things off of some draws, and frees up some mana if my opponent doesn't remove it. I think it has to be Thalia, because I'm just like so afraid of Oko right now. Assuming that my opponent can remove this needle somehow. But like the worst case scenario is that like my opponent has something like Wilt or Abrupt Decay to answer needle and then plays Oko. It's unfortunate that the Wasteland is kind of off. Also important. Well, I guess I have a second Thalia, so like if this one gets swords, it's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. So like there's another thing though where if I keep this Thalia on board, excuse me, if I keep this Thalia on board, my Grafdigger's Cage becomes harder to cast. And so like if I play a Banneret this turn, I get Grafdigger's Cage into Thalia next turn. That's a Wasteland target. Thalia is now defended. I think I like doing this. Attacking. Wastelanding at the end of combat. And then probably playing second main phase Valley Rush Banneret and dropping the shields on this Thalia. Like if my opponent could have removed it and it was okay for their plan, they already would have done so. Now we see if my Pithing Needle gets removed here. Yep. Alright. I think I need to deploy this since I lost one of my mana sources this turn. Oh wow, I put this on human instead of soldier. Let's hope this doesn't get countered. That would be an embarrassment. Okay, cool. I think I need to let my opponent have one Oko activation if they have Oko in hand, so that I can push a whole lot of damage and make my creatures bigger. Incredibly awkward. But, like, this is the difference between getting 6 damage this turn versus getting 2 damage this turn. I think I have to play the Field Marshal. Like, if they Oko plus get an Elk, and I still have, like, 2 first strikers that beat Elks in combat before I answer their Oko, that's okay with me. They also have to take 2 off their fetch lands in order to get an Oko into play. So they could just die. Alright. Cool. And we lose. Force pitch Oko. So their last card in hand is another Oko. Dealt. That's really frustrating. Maybe their last card in hand wasn't another Oko. No, it was. Alright, we lose. I get hit for 4, then I get hit for 7. My Thalia does nothing. My Grafdigger's Cage does nothing. Yeah. Like, we can't win from here. I guess I could draw the 3rd Pithing Needle. And then I'm just mostly dead. But, like, this is why I'm so frustrated with current Legacy. Like, Oko comes down and just invalidates 5+ turns of work. So, like, my opponent was at 6, and now, like, they have enough bodies to clock me in 3 turns and enough life where I can't aggro them out. Yeah, Nathan. It'll be for the week of, what is that, July 6th? No. I have the week of the 22nd recorded already, so it'll be the week of the 29th. If I had Ancient Tombs, we could talk about, like, playing Thorn of Amethyst aggressively to keep my opponent from curving out, but I don't think that gets to work here. Uh, Something something astrolabe ruins this hand. Something something. Sure, like we admittedly did get stuck on mana, but like we had a very aggressive start, right? And then just like sweeper into Oko and can't really do much anymore. I do not think that I was likely to beat an Oko that game. This is incredibly awkward. I think it's correct to port my opponent rather than deploy a creature. It just super sucks. You can just send me the link in Discord, or you can send the link to me via PayPal. Either's fine. Cool. So now I need to deploy creatures, which means that my opponent can untap and play an Uro, or an Oko, sorry. The Wastelands don't get to do anything. And the card advantage that I get off of Militia Bugler maybe isn't insane. I don't know that I get to double Rishadan port my opponent down forever when I can only attack for 2 a turn realistically. Maybe I can attack with the Banneret. Like Catapult Squad pre-combat, attack with Banneret and Militia Bugler, see if opponent will trade Containment Priest or a Snake for it. Decks end up on the no-fly list if they are just too click intensive for me to like focus on doing other things while they're happening. That's why Bomberman is on there. Or if I just hate them, that's why Esper Vial is on there. Pithing Needle for Jace is good. How am I playing this turn cycle? I think I'm only porting them once. Turn is strange. Because I can just attack with Valley Rush Banneret and Militia Bugler into Jace, and they have to trade Containment Priest for it, leaving Jace at 1 loyalty. Or I can just Needle Jace. The issue is that this Needle really wants to go on Oko. I can alternatively. I need. Oh, shoot. Militia Bugler has Vigilance. That changes everything, right? Sorry. That's my second untapped soldier. Okay, so they value this Jace very highly if they're countering a catapult squad. Yeah, I know. I also don't want to needle the Jace, but I don't know that I can give them a single activation with it. Like, they're low on resources. I can port them off of green so they can't cast an Oko for the next turn cycle, hopefully. Alright. I think I give them my Valley Rush Banneret just to get the Containment Priest off the table. And now... Now I'm not happy. I'm going to take the Jace out with Needle. I'm really not happy about this play, but I'm too worried about the game slipping away due to Jace if I let it stick around. So, assuming they don't have, like, fetch land plus Oko, this lets me keep them off of Oko for the short term until hopefully I've built up more of a board. Yeah, but like even an Ice Fang Coatl, if I didn't kill the Jace last turn, would have been devastating. Oh man, do you just have fetch land plus Oko after all of that? No, but that card is also great when I can't pressure your life total. Look, if you want to do something with green mana, you're doing it right now. What am I doing with this vial? 3 and 4 are both kind of important. But I have way, way more 3s than 4s. So I probably keep this one at 3 for the time being. Punished. Opponent seems to have either Swords to Plowshares or another Icefang Coatl. I don't think that I can tap out for Enlistment Officer here. I think I need to play it off of Vial next turn. Okay, that's kind of as expected there. Like, I can't let my opponent have a bunch of unchecked mana when they also have Sylvan Library. Land plus Oko is going to be rough. Something like a Force of Vigor is devastating. And Abrupt Decay is bad next turn cycle. Yes. Yes. There's a world where I'm supposed to tap this Ether Vial first and before I tap this one. Because I know that my opponent has Containment Priest in their deck. I don't know if they have multiples. But they didn't tap it at the end of their last turn, which they would have done if they had Containment Priest, so I'm not going to do that. Ooh. Okay. Now it's a little interesting as to whether or not I actually cast some stuff. I think I continue to keep them off of main phase green so I can't get Oko'd. There's other cards that I need to worry about, though. So, like, there's Teferi and Abrupt Decay and whatnot. I think this looks like do that there. And I'm also going to port the other green source here now. And we're going to do Draw Step Thalia. My other Vial going to 3 next turn is putting in Field Marshal is pretty good. I think so. If my opponent has like a Dead of Winter or something here to wreck me good. Okay, cool. I have set my audio filters up well enough that you can't hear that rain, I think. It is loud, let me assure you, though. I think despite the fact that I have this Thalia, I still take this up to 3. And I think I just do this pre-combat. And just like get a feel for what my options are like. Ugh, losing that needle there sucks. God damn it. As soon as I let them have green mana and an Oko slips through, I can't win this game. But I also need to deploy cards or I can't win this game. It's kind of a really bad catch-22 situation now. Super punishing to tick up the Vial to 2, considering my draws this turn. I think I have to abandon ship on my previous plan and get some more bodies onto the battlefield. Like, I can try to keep them off of green, but like this is problematic. I also now might need to take this Vial up to 5 for Catapult Master. At least I got to play some Magic this game. But like, the House of Cards probably falls apart this turn. Like, they get an Oko into play. If they have like Snapcasters or Uros, they can get rid of the cage. If they get a Dead of Winter to wipe my board, I'm pretty devastated. Yeah, Vial Officer and Upkeep would have been pretty good. But like, we have so many 3s. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good play. Opponent's sequencing seems a little interesting here. Do I need to put this vial to 5? I probably need to get this creature for free. I think I leave this one at 3. I think I put this one to 5. It's very awkward. You think I get to straight kill my opponent when... Yeah. Let's start playing this turn out. Kind of see what happens with the Bugler. Catapult Squad is interesting. I can just like vomit a couple extra creatures, put those into play, and then vial in the Catapult Master or Catapult Squad. I guess I can also crack this clue. I get to attack in with 5 power worth of stuff. So how am I doing this turn cycle? I am probably using Catapult Squad to kill an Ice Fang Coatl, and Catapult Squad to finish off an Astrolabe. How am I doing attacks? The goal is probably to try to kill them via combat next turn and just like lose to a sweeper. I can also just attack them. And just say, like, your Oko doesn't matter. I'm only pushing 2 damage this turn, though. Yeah, I think we'll just try for 7 next turn. Let's just kill Jace this turn. Not let them get as many looks for a sweeper. There's the Plowshares on Catapult Squad is really frustrating here. Sure, that doesn't matter. I mean, like, it technically matters, but it doesn't matter that much. They didn't need Swords to Plowshares as well. Why? I mean, okay. I guess that means that their Jace gets to live this turn. Alright. So we're dead to a sweeper. Otherwise, we'd probably have enough gas here to just finish the game next turn. So my 3/3 and a 2/1 gets blocked. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am presenting lethal as of right now. Fetch is good for me. Brainstorm is very bad for me. Like every look at another sweeper is just devastating. All right, we're not getting swept. So there's a small hope. Field Marshal is a pretty sick draw. What are you doing with a single blue post-combat after you've already activated? Why? Why? If you had that and you were going to cast it, you should have done that prior to activating your Planeswalker. Always no to that one. Needle is cool. I think the way this turn starts off is with cast Thraben Inspector, sack the clue immediately. It's not what I was looking for, obviously. Soldier. Okay. How conservatively do I want to play this game? Because I can just, like, Junk Labe this turn, Junk Labe next turn, Needle, Oko. Like, that is absolutely a line that's available to me that I wish I had more time to think about. It's very bad in the face of Abrupt Decay. Block, block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only... Yeah, I think I play this one turn patiently and don't go for the kill this turn. That changes if they can force the will. Maybe it doesn't. Like, just say screw it, send them in. No, I don't need to play Thalia for 1. Fuck it, I'm going face. Let's go. I'm going to put it on them to have answers here. Jace doesn't gain life. And I would feel so bad if I lost this game because my opponent, like, brainstorms into a sweeper. Alright. Don't have the sweeper. Don't have the sweeper. That's quite bad Astrolabe. That just redraws a card from Brainstorm. Brainstorm again. Yeah, there's also just worlds where I win via timeout now. That's also correct. GG's. Nine-headed Hydra, absolutely not. I don't think I win from the position of them drawing a sweeper. My two cards in hand are dead due to Caracas. I don't have vials that can like vial it in on end step. Like an abrupt decay that unlocks an Oko junks me. I very much disagree. All right, I am going to run to the restroom right. I will be right back. All right, let's go back into it. I mean, it was kind of a cool game, right? Except, like, I was just living in fear the entire time because I just could not beat cards if my opponent drew them. Like, my opponent had 20 cards left in the library. If they had found a sweeper earlier in that game, I can't win. And they had resolved the Oko earlier. I also probably couldn't have won. We have multiple vials on our start here. This is a solid hand. Opponent is probably playing Death and Taxes. Not 100% though. Could be playing Red Prison as well. Could be playing Cephaloid Breakfast. I've also played plenty of Maverick. But bad news, it is just as discouraging to play against Oko. Yeah, so we're probably playing against Cephaloid Breakfast. In which case, this is probably just a race. Seems like you take either Field Marshal or Preeminent Captain here to me. What? Okay. Yeah, basically any fair creature deck is going to have fits versus an Oko control deck. The things like Death and Taxes, Maverick, Red Prison, things of that nature are just going to get absolutely squashed by Oko most of the time. How aggro am I going? Did my opponent's deck have the True Names main deck? No, they have the sideboard. So if I just like play Ballyrush Banneret here, I don't have something to do with Vial mana next turn. Hmm. I think I need to establish a clock. Like, I think I'm just trying to kill my opponent before they can assemble everything that they need. But Port versus Creature is interesting here. Oh, like Maverick is certainly an interesting deck. Like, I will never discount Maverick. Deck is quite powerful. But to give you a feel for like my thoughts, I haven't played a Magic League for my own pleasure in probably close to 2 months at this point. Like when I want to play something for my own entertainment, I just boot up Monster Train right now. Like the 4 leagues that I play for content production purposes each week are sufficient for me to be like, that's plenty of Magic. And so, like, I'm at the floor of the amount of Magic that I play, and that floor for me is 4 matches a week. Whereas under other circumstances, I'm above that on average because like I'll play a couple of random leagues throughout the week. I haven't played just a random league because I wanted to play Magic in a long time. So yes, this is happening. That goes on soldier. Okay. I think we're putting the preeminent captain into play this turn and calling that good. Next turn I'm going to get an attacking militia bugler plus field marshal off of Vial. There are worlds here where my opponent isn't actually like an Esper Cephalid breakfast deck because also be like a Doomsday deck. It'd be a little weird for them to fetch Tundra Tundra though, like because they need to be working towards triple black unless they already have like a Dark Ritual. I just saw this comment, but Nathan said, "Be happy. I'm not playing any Oko." Very happy about that. My turn is admittedly going to be interesting because I kind of want to Militia Bugler and find a Thalia. I guess I can do that off of my lands. I want to play Field Marshal in combat to surprise my opponent and maybe eat the Baleful Strix for free. A Catapult Master. That's not good here. White and 1. Cast. Come on, Thalia. It's Thalia. We're going to take that. Potentially disrupts a combo kill from my opponent. Now I'm gonna like pause here for a second, like I'm thinking about whether or not I want to trade this creature away, and then I'm going to attack. Oh, no block. Oh, maybe they saw the field marshal earlier when they thought seized me. Yeah, I guess they did. It should be difficult for my opponent to like Doomsday off here, if that is what they are doing. Vindicate. Oh, I guess my opponent is just like straight up a control deck. And I think this elevator is going to continue to go up to put Catapult Master into play. Because I'm pretty good at casting most of my stuff. Alright, so now white versus black. Black could represent something like Liliana Last Hope. Could be devastating. White could represent Council's Judgment, not Supreme Verdict this turn. Let's keep them off of a black Planeswalker. Kind of a shame to be, like, quote-unquote throwing away my Vial, but I've gotten so much mana out of this Vial already that I'm good with this. A Bugler. Yeah, I probably just end up, like, trading trading these, doing 2, putting them into 5, playing a bugler, and not board them. Kind of a shame that my Vial is at 5 now, because like if I hit Enlistment Officer, it's kind of nuts. Yeah. Whatever, we take that anyway in case things go wrong. We're at least somewhat isolated from a sweeper now, in that like I have a creature that I can put in at my end step, and I have a way to regas as soon as I find some more mana. Alright. Just cast spells. I can still Vial. Please my opponent dead on board. Nice. I wish I saw a little bit more from my opponent. So, like, for example, I don't know if they're like an Esper Stoneblade, if they're just an Esper control deck. I don't know. So we're probably going to board with a light touch here, and probably just board in 3 Pithing Needles for this next game, and then, like, get a little bit more information, and then board from there. That's not a Pithing Needle, that's a Thorn. So what's getting cut? Catapult Master is pretty slow and incentivizes me to tick my Vial up higher than I would like. That's probably my starting point for removal. Then maybe just like 1 Thraben Inspector or something like that. There's some sort of like Stoneblade style deck. The Catapult Master is maybe a little bit better than I'm giving it credit for. Because then it can like eat Batterskull Germs and such. But I'm a little lacking in information still. This hand is very good. Again, just like imagine if we were playing Ancient Tomb instead of Wasteland, and I get to like do this on turn 2, and like turn 3 attack, put Field Marshal in, herp derp 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 derp. I think that ends up being better a lot of the time. You probably have to change some other things though, like if you start playing a bunch of soul lands, then precinct captains end up looking a little bit worse. No, I've never wanted to draw precinct captain. Never been like, this is the card. It's a little hard to just cast on turn 2 anyway. Like, precinct captain is a card that clocks really hard versus combo. Like, that's kind of its purpose. It's kind of weird, right? Like Ballyrush Banneret has been pretty good this league, but like maybe it's only good this league because I don't have additional mana acceleration. Like normally Ballyrush Banneret is the sort of thing that's in your starting hand and you don't usually end up casting it in most games. Opponent's like gonna need a source of card advantage quick. I also need either a land or Ballyrush Banneret to stay alive. Either one of those things is totally good. I don't think I get to just like try for the free roll win here by wastelanding my opponent when like they have cantrips and I don't to smooth things out. Yeah, so if I would have wastelanded there and then they brainstorm and found another land, that would have been very embarrassing for me. I kind of need my opponent to stumble a bit here. Their mulligan plus force of will is giving me a window, but I need to be able to take advantage of that. So if they stumble a little bit more, or I draw the land, I think I'm okay. But if they don't stumble, and I don't draw the land, and Ballyrush Banneret is removed, I think I actively end up in a bad position. So, like for example, Teferi bounce Ballyrush Banneret is pretty devastating. Or like Liliana kill Ballyrush Banneret is bad. Yeah, same thing. Land. Almost land. I don't easily get to remove Plague Engineer other than by doing combat damage. Awkwardly, I now think that I do this, and I just like stay reliant on this vial over time, providing me enough advantage that I can get there. I wouldn't have wastelanded if I drew a land that turn, obviously. Yeah, you can Thoughtseize. I don't care about any individual card in my hand all that much. The beginning next turn, the Plague Engineer should not attack anymore. It's just risky too, because of Precinct Captain in particular. Or no, I guess Precinct Captain would be a 1/1 when it hits play. I guess they get one more attack with it. Hmm. Do I play this card this turn and preemptively name Teferi because Teferi bouncing my Ether Vial pretty much immediately ends the game on the spot? Maybe. It is Time Raveler, right? Just gonna confirm, yes. It's very awkward. Because like if my opponent just like plays land and then plays like Lily Last Hope or something like that, it's like so tilting. God damn it. Alright, we don't beat double Plague Engineer. I will just concede to that. Like we get a couple of 0-3s that can stick around, and like we're basically playing to drawing Captain of the Watch and putting it in off a vial, and then like we have 1-1-1. Like, uh-uh. Okay, now we know that my opponent has a bunch of Plague Engineers that I need to answer. I guess Catapult Master is like not really an answer to that. Let's bring in 2 Swords to Plowshares, probably for 2 Thraben Inspectors. I'd call that good. Yeah, feels bad to be the tribal deck on the wrong side of Plague Engineer. He said opponent needed a source of card advantage, and Plague Engineer served as that. You know, killing what? I think it like actually only killed 1 or 2 of my creatures, but then like neutered some cards in my hand. Bought them a lot of time. Is my opponent going to have more Flooded Strands or Polluted Deltas? I think Deltas, or even number. Probably Delta because of him. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think I'm like YOLO slamming Pithing Needle on Polluted Delta after my opponent has mulliganed here. I don't regret it. Opponent says good play. Unsure if serious or not. This is still probably pretty strong. Like, it's going to make cantrips awkward for the rest of the game. It's going to make, like, getting to things like black if they're trying to play basics much harder. I'm still good with this. It's a very philosophical question, Tabitha. It's a tricky one. I dislike the design of Plague Engineer a lot. Probably pre-combat double creature here. I think opponent would have removed it if they had removal, but I've been wrong before. This also allows me to set up a catapult squad safely. Yeah, you gave me extra mana by letting me do this here. Like now I get to hold up Swords of Plowshares as well. The enemy of my enemy is still my enemy. I like it. Field Marshal or Preeminent Captain. Field Marshal. I have a Swords of Plowshares here that I will fire off at any warm body that appears on my opponent's side of the table, because I have two of them. I named Flooded Strand. Alright, now that I drew a Field Marshal, I am going to just play another Field Marshal this turn. And is starting to look pretty soft to Supreme Verdict. Oh wow, Force Pitch a Brazen Borrower. So any deltas that my opponent had have probably now been shuffled away. I don't think my opponent plays Daze, but just in case. Hopefully they just try to like defend this Planeswalker via something like Baleful Strix, and then I get to like Swords to Plowshares that, kill the Planeswalker, and like I'm good. Why did Pithing Needle come in against me? Interesting. Just Vial, I guess. I guess I'm playing pre-combat Catapult Squad, because that lets me ping off something like a Snapcaster Mage. Yeah. Guess we're going wide. Everything gets real awkward if my Field Marshal gets answered. Yep. I lose Catapult Squad as well. I still get to kill their Planeswalker, though. So, like, not all is lost. Take a redraw here, I suppose. Soldier. Okay. Attack and kill Lily. Get some chip damage in here. And hold up Source of Plowshares for whatever my opponent plays. Daru Warchief turns all of this into a reasonable clock. So the thing about voting on my channel is that the dollars do the voting for what I play. So I have the next handful of streams already plotted out. We've got 5 in a row, which are the decks from the brewing contest, and then after that, I still have about 3 more things in the queue. Oh yes, very much capitalism inspired stream. This version of the deck does not play suppression field, is perhaps a more accurate way to say that strategic. Yeah, like I spend a lot of time doing content production for the stream in various ways. So like, aren't you dead on board? Bounce Daru Warchief, you still take 3. You take 4 this way. GG's. Yeah. So assuming that an average stream takes 3 hours to do, which is probably about right. I'm counting daily D&T as a stream here. So that's like 12 hours a week of Magic content production. And then I spend a decent amount of time, updating the queue on the website, parsing deck lists that I get, um, advertising for the streams and whatnot. Like it adds up to probably about like 20 hours a week. GG's. How good was the pithing needle? I'm obviously keeping this hand. The needle hit 2 Delta in your hand? Alright. I was worried because like you hit 2 flooded strands in a row, so I thought I had named the wrong one, but turns out it was going to be brutal either way. What do I throw back? Is it Port or Wasteland here? I think it's Wasteland. Port has been consistently hard to use. Yeah, that's fair. Sure, let's throw back the Port. Playing against Omni Bear. But not like Rar Bear. Against Underground Sea in the dark, I believe I will just be playing Thalia on 2. Haven't seen too much Grixis Delver recently. It's been far more Rug Delver, so I think Thalia in the dark is probably just pretty good. Alright, so could be playing against Delver, could be playing against blue-black Reanimator deck. Seems like maybe a bug Delver based on Verdant Catacombs. Oh, just another Underground Sea. Alright, Delver it is. How am I playing this turn? Like, is this an Ether Vial game or is this not an Ether Vial game? I need to decide right now. I think I'm wastelanding my opponent this turn. I know they have at least one more land. Feels kind of like I just need to like cast my spells this game. Oh yeah, like this is a fistful of non-bow. I think this is not a Vial game. We're gonna blow up that land, try to play Ballyrush Banneret. Then we can use that to play Preeminent Captain for 2 mana next turn and also play Ether Vial. But like the Vial will be incredibly slow at that point. You attack with your Delver, I will trade. I will accept that trade. It will be a good trade for me. Alright, so opponent has at least 2 more remaining lands, so I'm not going to stick them on lands at all this game. Are we serious right now? Like, this card will just kill me later. I will absolutely take that trade, unquestionably. You just have Gurmag Angler, I see. Well, if everything works out as planned, this is cool as hell. Opponent can't daze me this turn. They don't have an island in play, so it has to be Force of Will. They also could have something like a Fatal Push to answer it on their turn, though. Lame. So now we're just going to get 4-turn clocked by Gurmag Angler. And I don't have a lot to say about that. Or maybe I do. Awkward. So, Vial Thalia Caracas is how I beat this Gurmag Angler. But that means I have to drop the shields on the Thalia this turn in order to make that work. And it means that I need to play Thalia into daze. So just all around incredibly awkward. Yep. Is what it is. All right. Round number 3 of 5 of Oko. Cool, cool, cool. Let's try Worship this round. Try Selfless Squire and Swords of Plowshares. I don't think I get to play Pithing Needle to beat Oko. Like, I don't know how many Okos they have. It's probably 1 or 2. I probably have to try to beat Oko in a fair way. Because, like, I'm already trying to board 6 things. And my creature count very much matters for things like Catapult Squad and Catapult Master. So I don't think I get to bring in Needles. I think I'm boarding out the Thraben Inspectors. I think I'm boarding out Precinct Captains because they're harder to cast than things that have colorless mana symbols. And I think I'll do it like that. Yeah, I mean, Lavabrink Venturer is a slam dunk if you're playing Soul Lands, right? Just unquestionably. Aether Vow gets countered or answered, and I lose this one. But I have a very insane Vial curve, so I have to keep this hand. Alright, the Vial resolved. Cool. We are potentially going to get to play Magic now. We can just get Abrupt Decayed on turn 2, though, and then I don't get any value out of this Vial, and that's disastrous in its own right. Cool, cool, cool. Like, very clearly Abrupt Decay. Yep. Alright, no Magic this round. Alright, yeah, we're dead. We're not beating this. Okay. That's fine. I've conceded already. Get me out of here. Okay. Honestly, deck felt bad. Just not mincing words. Death and Taxes usually plays 23 or 24 lands. We felt land light here. I lost many games just due to not being able to cast my spells. Basically, any hand where an Ether Vial didn't stick around felt bad. So I have 12 cards that give me card advantage that require me to deploy additional cards in some way. And I did not have the mana to crack clues a lot of times. I did not have the mana to like empty my hand in a lot of cases. White on turn 2 was really hard. I don't know that we ever cast a Precinct Captain, or if we did, we cast it and it got removed right away. So all in all, like, thumbs down on this one. It needs changes in some way. So if you want to continue to play Vial Soldiers, I think you need more lands. Just like you need to be able to cast your spells. Some of those lands probably need to be Ancient Tombs. But like whether or not this build is more interesting and better than just like the traditional suppression field based deck, I don't know. Let's resort this. So like this league, the Thraben Inspectors and the Precinct Captains essentially did nothing. It was really hard for Preeminent Captain to get in there and do work as well. Like, without the ability to accelerate this out via something like Crow Mox or Ancient Tomb and make this an early play, this is just like turn 3, put it in play, or maybe turn 4 off of Vial, and then you've already vomited a bunch of your hands, so you're not necessarily like getting to use this to get ahead on board super early. So like that card didn't feel great. Catapult Master was often awkward, making it so that like I had to take a vial up to 5 and then I'd draw an enlistment officer afterwards, or like I'd have to spend an entire turn doing this. Valley Rush Banneret was very good this league because we were so mana constrained. Catapult Squad was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels like the deck was fighting itself too much. Like, Vial fights with Banneret, fights with Preeminent Captain, fights with Port and Wasteland. Like, I just didn't feel like this deck was synergistic and smooth. There's a lot of like, if this all works together perfectly, this is great. But I think it just has too much clunk. Delete. So thanks, Marshall. I hope that was helpful to you and still amusing content. Just as a side note, Latin Academy starts up for me this week, so it's online this year, but I'm still going to have a decent amount of work to do for that for the next 2 weeks. So streams and content may be at slightly odd hours, may be delayed. Don't exactly know yet until I get a feel for how my workload is going to be. But just follow if you want to know when I'm going live. That's pretty much all that I have to say there. I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Honorog now. Have a great rest of the day, folks, and the results of the brewing contest will start appearing on stream probably Monday night.